What's going on, everybody? It's your brother in Christ, Tony here, and welcome to another Source of Light video. So today I want to talk about whether or not Christians should drink. It's a little controversial subject. I think everybody has that question and everybody has a different answer, but the Bible says whether or not what we should or should not do, and I want to get to that right now. But before I begin, I want to give a shout out to my beautiful wife. She actually came up with this video idea and she recorded it one for her own channel. So I suggest to go check that out. I haven't heard it, I haven't watched it, and I did not see her record. So I don't know what she said, but she is very wise, wiser than me. So go check her out because she also makes faith-based videos like myself. Also some beauty stuff and some lifestyle stuff. So if you're interested in that, go check her out. Link will be in the bio down below. But I have my iPad here to help me hit the points and scripture verses that I want to read today. So let's just jump on into it. Should Christians drink alcohol? That's a question that I think everyone asks at one point in their life. And the Bible states clearly, we all know that famous verse, right? You can drink, but you cannot drink to get drunk, right? So that's number one. If you're drinking to get drunk, then no. Check your heart. Check your heart. If you have to be tipsy, people think tipsy is different from drunk. No. It's where your heart is. If your heart is like, you know you're going to get tipsy, you know you're going to get drunk, you need it to function in a social event, or you need it to get out of your shell, or you need it because it makes you feel better, then no, you should not be drinking alcohol because your heart is not in the right place. If you're wanting to get drunk, tipsy, all that stuff, you should not be drinking it. We already know that. Don't drink to get drunk. But if your heart's not in the right place, you also should not be drinking. And that comes down to point number two. So point number one, we all know, don't drink to get drunk. Now point number two is your heart over God. Where is your heart in the scenario, right? Where's alcohol in relationship to God? Is alcohol the thing you run to make you feel better, the thing you run to relieve that anxiety, the thing you run to help you get away from everything that's going on in life? If you run to alcohol, that's with anything else, not just alcohol. If you run to a video game, if you run to your computer, if you run to medicine, if you run to TV over God to help solve your problems, then your heart's in the wrong place. So if you're running to an alcoholic beverage to clear your mind or make you feel less anxious because you know it'll help if you drink enough, your heart's not in the right place. Anything you put above God, anything that you put above God to help you be at peace or help you be calm, or if you put it above God, your heart's not in the right place. So you should not be drinking in that sense. Just check your heart and fix your heart, right? And I'm not saying, like, I know I gave the example of medicine, but like, medicine is prescribed by doctors, so there's a time and place for that. But let's say you were prescribed a medication, right? You shouldn't just take that medication and trust that it's going to do what you need it to do. You're putting trust in medicine. Start practicing taking that medicine and be like, Lord, I thank you for a solution to help me where I'm at right now, but I thank you that you are my healer, you are the answer, and you are delivering me from this. I put my trust and my hope in you, right? Now that's different because you're prescribed medication, right? But if you're running to drugs or you're running to alcohol as a source of happiness or source of peace other than God, then you should not be drinking right now. You should let God work on your heart to where you go to Him first, right? Now there's another scenario. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, run to alcohol as an enjoyment. What do I mean by that? Sometimes you work a hard day, right? And your routine is to sit down, crack open a cold one, as they say, and relax, because it's just like one of those things you look forward to, right? It's just like one of those things you decompress. For me, that sounds nice, right? Me, I would come, like if I had an 8-hour day and I was tired and my legs were just tired, I would imagine me being able to sit down, turn on the TV, have a cold glass of tea, right? Because it just feels good. It's something you look forward to. It's like one of those things that probably maybe brings back memories or just makes you feel good like a kid again. I don't know what the case may be, but your heart's not in the wrong place, right? You're just doing it for an enjoyment. You're like, I worked hard. You want a cold beverage and you just want to relax. Your heart's not in the wrong place. But if you're doing it to get drunk, or you're doing it above God, right? You're using it as a source of peace above God, like I said, that's when your heart is kind of wrong. So you can kind of check it there. And honestly, when your heart's wrong and you're doing it to run away from something, usually you're going to get drunk so that you can feel better. So, those kind of run both hand in hand, but always check your heart. So that's number two. Number three, which is my last and final one, which I think is super important, because number one and two kind of go hand in hand. You kind of know yourself, you shouldn't drink to get drunk. But this one is kind of where the controversial ends, right? Because people think you shouldn't drink as a Christian. But this verse helps clarify this across the board. Helps clarify the confusion going on, right? Because we're going to jump. Oh, well, let me give you point number three. I'm sorry. I'm jumping ahead of myself. Point number three is people. What do I mean by that? Should Christians drink? And the answer is it depends who you're around. And I'm not saying that you should live a two-faced kind of life, a fake kind of life. No, I'm saying it depends who is around you. And let me explain by going to Romans 14, verse 15 through 16. And it actually goes 15 to 16. Yeah, 15 to 16, and I'll jump to something else. So verse 15, if your brother or sister is distressed because of what you eat, you are no longer acting in love. Do not, by your eating, destroy someone for whom Christ died. Therefore, do not let what you know is good be spoken of as evil. So let me give you context to what's going on here. This chapter, this context of what I just read is basically saying people are at different walks of faith in their life. And he was giving the example of meat and vegetables. Some person's faith, right, allows them to eat meat, right? This is the context back in the day, because some people thought meat was unclean, but Jesus declared that he made all things clean. So some people had faith in order to eat meat, but other people's faith was only to eat vegetables. So he's saying, do not destroy that peace between you two. Do not destroy that fellowship or that unity of peace when you're together. So if this person who loves and eats meat because their faith allows them to is in the same room with the person that only eats vegetables, for that time being, the guy should sacrifice his meat and not eat it around him, because it could cause his faith to stumble, it could cause him to stumble, it could cause the unity of peace between them to stumble and to break, and it could cause this guy to stumble in a sense because his faith is not there yet. So to him, he thinks this guy's doing evil, but he's not. His faith says, I can drink or I can eat. So in the scenario of alcohol, if you know that you can drink, right, not to get drunk, but you can have a beverage of alcohol when you go out, but this person you're hanging with believes that Christians should not drink, then don't dispute that against him. Don't fight against him. Don't try to change his mind. Don't try to drink around him. Keep the unity of peace, because that's more important than a cold beverage of alcohol. That's more important than trying to come up with your point and make him believe what you believe. No, just drop it. And when you're in the same room as this guy, keep the unity of peace and don't worry about drinking that alcohol. Like they said, do not by your eating destroy someone for whom Christ died. Therefore, do not let what you know is good be spoken of as evil, right? Because if you have that faith, but he thinks it's evil, he's going to tell other people, and it's just going to be, the unity of peace will be broken, and it just does not look good. So let's jump to verse 19 and 21. Verse 19 says, let us therefore make every effort to do what leads to peace and to mutual edification. So right there it says, anything that leads to peace, do it. So if you're hanging around somebody that thinks you should not be drinking alcohol, don't drink alcohol. Don't even question it. Get a cup of, I don't know, coffee, soda, water. Just keep the unity of peace. That's more important than the things down below. That's more important than what we believe. It's more important than trying to argue. Just keep the peace. Just because your faith is higher doesn't mean you have to shun this person or think any lower of him. Their faith is not there, right? So to go on, it says, it is better not to eat meat or to drink wine or to do anything else that will cause your brother or sister to fall. So that's very important. Can Christians drink alcohol? Yes, if they are not drinking to get drunk, if they're not running to it before God, and if they are not causing their fellow believer, sister, brother to fall, to stumble, or to think that you are doing evil, right? And another scenario, let's say you're not out with that certain person, but you want to post on social media. This is very crucial. Social media, if you post on social media, it's basically like you're sitting in the same room with that person if they see it. That's why I suggest if it has anything to do with controversial topics, don't post it on social media, right? Don't post on social media if it's going to make people question. There's no reason to do that. If you're having fun and you're having a cold beverage of alcohol, don't post about it. It could be controversial. It could cause another believer to stumble or think you're doing something evil. It's not worth it, right? But let's say you do post about it. Be careful the environment. The environment can make a difference, right? If you're at a bar and grill eating dinner and you decide to post a picture of the alcohol you're drinking, but in the background they see a bar with a whole bunch of people, that to somebody could mean or can picture in their own mind like, okay, he's out drinking. This is not going to be his last one. He's probably going to get drunk because the atmosphere you're in. So you have to be cautious the atmosphere you're in, because if you post, it could set a different vibe. Now, if you're in a business meeting and you're walking around with people dressed up nice and you have a glass of wine and you're posting a picture, that looks different. It shows like, oh, he's at a business meeting. People are here to mingle. No one's there to get drunk. And even though both scenarios, you're not there to get drunk, It's just what other people see. And if they think it's evil, if they think you're going to have another one, if they think you're going to get drunk, then in their heart, that's evil. And we don't want to cause somebody to stumble. I know it sounds super confusing, but you just have to think of other people in the scenario, right? It's honestly not worth posting about it if you think it could cause somebody else to stumble, right? Another example, you're on your honeymoon and you're on the beach and you post, one of those fruity drinks. That looks less harmless than you sitting around a bar in a pool posting that fruity drink. If you're in a pool and there's people around you and you're right by the bar, it makes it look like you're here to party and get drunk and go crazy. So atmosphere and where you are and how you post can speak differently to people. So just be cautious of that, right? So to answer the question, can Christians drink? Absolutely. If your heart's in the right place and you're not drinking to get drunk and you don't put that alcohol before God and you aren't doing it to cause another person to stumble, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Like if I had a cold beverage of alcohol, I'm not gonna feel I'm doing anything wrong because I'm not doing it with a wrong heart. I'm not doing it to get drunk. I'm not doing it to cause somebody else to stumble. I'm just doing it because I like the taste of a fruity alcoholic beverage. Now just to speak, I'm not a big alcoholic person as is. I like sweet wine and I like fruity drinks. So I'm not a huge alcoholic guy as is, but if I caught somebody drinking around me a glass of alcohol, I'm not gonna judge them because I know if they aren't doing it to get drunk, that's fine. So to answer the question, yes, it is okay if you're not getting drunk and you're not causing somebody else to stumble or the unity of peace to be broken. Just think of that. Think of where your heart is. Are you doing it to get drunk, or can it cause the unity of peace around you to be broken? Because if those three are covered and you're fine, then that's okay. Don't feel condemned because you're having a cold alcoholic beverage. Just make sure it's not causing you to sin or you to stumble in any way possible, because that's the most important, right? So I hope that helped clarify. I wanted to bring in some scripture to it so you guys know I'm not just speaking out of my head. I try to be as scriptural as possible. So hopefully this helps you guys out. If you have any questions about it, any other controversial topics you want me to talk about, feel free to let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you guys. Let me know if this helped. Any other testimonies you guys may have, please let me know. And I do need help with video ideas. I want to know what you guys might be struggling with, what I might be able to help with, anything you guys have questions about. I'd love to hear from you. And make sure to check out my wife down below. We also have a vlogging channel. We don't use much, but sometimes we do. So if you want to subscribe, feel free to do so. Social media will be somewhere on the screen if you want to follow me. But if not, totally understand. I love you guys. Let's be life changers and let's change this world together. I love you guys. Peace.